Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome to Midnight Raceway Park. I'm Steve, and this week's tournament is going to be a bracket tournament of cars that resemble race cars. That's the only theme we're going with this week. And that can be any form of racing. So there's some funny cars included, there's a couple of trucks included, mostly stock cars, but also some winged vehicles as well. And it's a full bracket, so we have drivers for every single car in our tournament. So there's going to be a winner. Somebody's going to get a mystery model this week. So I'm going to let it play out. I'm going to have a lot more comments at the end of the video. And so I'll see you on the flip side. Well, there we have it. Congratulations to Goliath Dave, champion of this week's tournament. So, Dave, if you just shoot me an email at midnight.raceway.park@gmail.com with your address, I will send you out one of our mystery models. But that was pretty good. If you didn't notice, that's a new timer that I have for my drag strip, and I personally like it. I finally have a timer that goes out 3 decimal positions. And in the finals, we even had a tie with identical times, but it still picked up who crossed the line first, which was, you know, what I was looking for. So that's great. The two fastest times in the whole tournament were recorded by the two cars that were in the finals. They both recorded, I believe, a 2.508, and the Stocker, I believe, also scored a 2.509. Those are the only scores under 2.51. So yeah, that's interesting because on my old timing system, the average scores were like, in the 2.1 range, whereas these are in the 2.5 range. So that increase of times from point 0.4 is a little puzzling to me. I did reach out to the manufacturer of the new system that I have, which is Play Robotics, and Alex, who designs these and makes these, was really working with me to try and figure out why this was. I think it has something to do with the time the lever drops to release the cars. So when the green light goes off, that's probably when the timer starts, and there's a little bit of a pause for the gate to lower. That might account for it. I don't know. It's just something that we'll have to get accustomed to on this track with the new times. Clearly, I made a big faux pas. I messed up the F1 racer and the F racer. So I apologize for that confusion. It turned out it was an error that I made while filming. So it's, the only way to resolve it was to actually re-record the race, and I was not about to do that. But yeah, at round two, I had mixed up the two cars and put them in the wrong bracket and ran them that way. They both lost pretty convincingly, and the times of their opponents were both considerably better than both of the cars whose I'd swapped it accidentally. So I don't think it would have affected the results at all. I think they probably would have both gone out in round two. Some news updates. So I am in the preparing stage for a third track. This is something that I'm excited about. I've wanted to do it for a while now. Again, I have the design laid out, but it's going to be a while before I start working on it, putting it together. I also want to do some diorama type stuff, especially with the road course. I want to build like a little community within that road course using some, model people, model figures, and buildings and so forth. So that I'm also excited about. I'll be working on that over the next couple of months, I guess. So big changes coming for Midnight Raceway Park. With all of these changes, obviously there's, cost involved. So if you are interested, again, I'm not pushing this. I'm not going to be harboring you guys on this, but I do have an account for Buy Me a Coffee. So if you go to Buy Me a Coffee /midnight_raceway_park, you can buy me a coffee or two there. It really does help this channel, especially with it being so small, and the cost with some of the upgrades. Any little bit will help, but I don't want anybody to feel like they have to give or anything like that. I'm not trying to pressure anybody into this. So I think those are the updates that I had to provide. I'm just trying to really think any last thing. I don't think so. Next tournament, I do have a lot of work going on in the background, so I'm still going to try to keep my regular schedule of every other week having a new tournament. So the next one will be on the road course. It'll be, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out what the theme is for that, but I'll have it posted within a week. I'll post a comment to let you know what the next race is going to be. But with that, take care of yourselves.